Hello, viewers.
We're back again.
Another drive around review. Since
Yep.
we didn't go to the theater again, but we did see a movie.
And it's for the season.
Yes, Halloween season. So we watched a Halloween movie,
If you can call it that.
if we could call it that. Hocus Pocus 2.
Yes.
Yes, that's
We
what
finally sat down and watched it.
we decided to sit down and watch it. Go ahead, hon. Tell us what you think. As a big fan of the original.
Yeah, I did like the original. I thought that the original was fun and fresh for a Halloween movie, considering there wasn't that many at that point in time. But this was a little pale compared to the original,
was a lot.
unfortunately.
It was a lot pale. It was.
I mean, there were elements that I liked. Obviously, their costumes were upgraded. However, they looked much older, obviously.
Oh, the three of them. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that was a given, but
Yeah, I know, and it would have been hard to totally get rid of that. But I mean, it was just, it was just a little pale compared to the original. I mean, as far as the Sanderson sisters themselves, it was kind of interesting to see a bit of their backstory, although
that kind of dragged for me. That intro.
The whole intro was kind of weird. I don't know.
Yeah, there was bits where I just felt like it was this. It felt like it was another. No, I'm trying to. You know what it felt like? It felt like all the Disney live-action remakes. It's a lifeless redo of the original movie.
Yes.
And it's just there could have been so much more to it. And spoilers in case, but the fact that you had Becca as a proper young witch, and they kind of pulled a race. I almost said the wrong name. They pulled a Ray Palpatine, where she just kind of, suddenly realized she has magic powers, and suddenly she's using them.
Yeah.
With some not full efficiency, granted, but efficiency to some extent.
Well, it was All Hallows Eve, and they were in the sacred place half the time.
Even still, but I think that would have been a much better story element to play off of throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see. I mean, we kind of figured. I mean, there was a lot of, and one thing I will say is that there seems to be a lot of check boxes in this, but that's almost a given with any Disney flick at this point.
Yeah.
Whether it's a TV show or a TV movie. Oof. It's just
that's bright.
They are bright lights.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were just kind of meh in the sense that it's like, yeah, we just wanted to make sure we got this in there, and yes, we got this in there. The whole jock thing was kind of like really like slap in the face.
And then he had to make the apology.
Yes, it was like that whole CRT at a mild level.
Yeah,
and I'm not totally into that.
That was disappointing. There was a lot of the typical stuff you see in a lot of the current Disney things.
Yes.
And there was I think I would really consider more bringing it up in this, because it took time away from developing your core characters. You could have built Becca up more if we didn't have to deal with the dumb jock and the girl, because the one friend was dating him. It's like that whole subplot could have been just removed, and I think you could have had a more cohesive story. And it's just, and you had the bumbling father on top of it, and it's like what other than they need the blood of him, but they didn't need him anyways.
No, they didn't. So, but they didn't know he had a kid. They just knew it was him.
I just like how suddenly she walked up and said, "Dad."
Well, no, he said yeah, I think that's what it was.
I don't even remember. I was kind of almost tuned out at that point.
Yeah, no, when he was talking to them and was about ready to let go of the salt circle, she's like, "Dad, no." And then she's like, "Dad." it's like, so we don't need just his. And that's when she's like, oh, there's another the generations live on or whatever.
Yeah. Although you would have thought they would have still taken the dad anyways, because he more clearly resembled
the person
that they showed and they hated in the beginning. But plot needed the three girls to be together, you know, for the new coven. So
yeah,
there you go. So it's just these plot contrivances and things that happen throughout, and it's just.
So that's an interesting question. It seemed like, in the end, that Sanderson's sisters, was it Mary and Sarah, right? Is it Mary?
I don't know.
I don't remember anymore. But anyway,
yourself a fan.
Whatever. But anyway, apparently they never had powers.
Yes.
Other than, you know, kind of luring and smelling things out, but they never really had any like magical powers.
They couldn't do like the laser blast.
Yeah,
thing.
the lightning, the force lightning.
Yeah.
But so it was interesting because I was like, gee, if she's the only witch, the one girl, and they called her friends her coven, I'm like, but they don't have magical powers. But I guess because they're
they shared her magic and made her more powerful, like the Power Stone, whatever the Infinity Stone was in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I guess so. But it's just interesting because I had always kind of assumed that they were all witches. They all had magic, but apparently it was only Winnie, and then it's now only Becca.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. That was a different take on lore.
Yeah, it was, but it didn't serve a purpose. I didn't feel it really served a purpose to the plot. All of a sudden they did, and it just, hey, we got powers. Yay! Doofy, 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 doofy.
Well, they were just surprised.
Right? I know, but I think, see, that could have been even more interesting as early on the sisters find out they have powers, and, you know, they could have created more of friction between the Sanderson sisters, because she does always talk down to them.
Yes.
And if they start getting powers,
well, I mean,
I think that would create more tension, and it would have been more interesting too if you have the other Becca witch growing and things like that. I think that would have made a much more interesting dynamic. However, I mean, what they gave us, I mean, it was so by the numbers. I mean, again, you know, similar to whatever else we just watched.
I know, but I mean,
so you just knew exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, in essence, you know, I mean, obviously, again, as Doctor Strange says, you know, always read the warnings.
Yeah, no, that was funny.
For the spells and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, every time she kept saying, like, you know, give up what you love, I'm like, they assumed because it was the head of a lover that's what they were giving up, obviously.
No, I think that was part of the ingredients for the spell.
True, but because they mentioned a lover, and then they're saying you have to give up what you love, your mind automatically goes to, oh, they're giving up the lover.
Oh, I don't know. The moment she properly read the warning, I knew exactly.
Well, I agree. Once we knew the warning, we knew it was her sisters.
Yeah.
But the problem was that up until that point, we hadn't read the warning. So when Winnie was talking about it, we're like, oh, she's just giving up Billy, which was not a big deal.
Oh, I follow you.
Which to her would have been not a big deal.
And no, I agree with what you're saying, and I think that was another even annoying thing with the plot. It's just how it came about. It was the one guy that was running the magic shop, their old house.
Yep.
And because he saw the Sanderson sisters flying away and then get destroyed, he wanted to bring them back. And it's like, did he not know anything about he knew all about their history, but you thought they were good? nothing in their history stated they were good, so why would you bring them back expecting them to be good?
I don't think he expected them to be good. I just don't think he expected them to be as mean. But I'm like, honestly, I would.
It was just
I'm
stupid.
like that to me is just dumb.
I did like the fact that he was ployed a little bit about the book. I thought that was a bit clever. I liked that the book they were trying to add a personality to the book.
Yes.
And that it had you know, a will of its own of sorts. So I thought that was clever, and I like that that's how they made the black candle, because when they made it, you know, and all of a sudden it lights and it turns into it, you're like, what the heck? How did they get that?
Yeah.
So at least it was explained, you know, the book showed him how to make it.
Yes.
But him wanting to bring them back and willing to do that was, I don't know, I thought that was a little silly and
dumb.
And yeah, I just didn't care for it. It just felt, the whole movie just felt like, let's redo the original because it did so much of the original.
There was a lot of elements to it, yeah. They had, like, instead of the road of what is this big black river, it was like, oh, the magic of the door of the Walgreens and things like that, which is kind of funny.
Which, yeah, there were funny, there were bits where I was like, ha, or ha.
The one thing that kind of, like, threw me off the most is that almost that break of fourth wall when they're trying to find the mayor and they go to that one house that had another checkbox and they're watching the one scene in Hocus Pocus.
Yes.
I'm like, wait, how does that scene even exist in any reality since that was a movie before?
Yes. No, I agree. It was.
So that was a bit jarring, only because I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. It was a cute little Easter egg, but totally.
Yeah, it was unneeded. It was really unneeded.
Yeah.
And I am going to say I was a little disappointed that it didn't seem like you brought back any of the main cast of any sort.
The original, yeah.
And other than Billy and obviously
that was a recast
the
anyway.
Sandersons. No, apparently that was him.
That was the original
Apparently
actor?
it was the original actor that they brought back for Billy.
He didn't sound like him.
Well, I think he's old now. How old was the first? How old is it?
Well, I think they said it was
20.
1993 is when it first came out.
Probably. So yeah.
Yeah. So it's,
Yeah,
it's like 30 years old.
So just more Disney bleh.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't. I mean, it was cute. I did get a little feels for Winnie when she lost her sisters. You know, that did give me a few feels. So I mean,
did a little bit. I did a little bit, but I felt that was getting a little drug on.
A little,
but
I mean, it was all right. I could definitely see they could have done a lot more with it, but with Disney's agenda, it just seems like they were checking off boxes throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, it just felt to me, like I said, it just felt like
it was
another one of their
vehicle for their agenda.
But just another live action remake thing, like their, you know, Beauty
like
and the
everything
Beast,
that they've
Cinderella,
done.
Lion King. It just felt like a soulless remake.
Yeah,
and it's kind of disappointing because I can sit down and watch the first one and have fun and still enjoy the humor of the first one. This one, it was like missing more often than not. So, I mean, honestly, my opinion, miss this one and watch the original.
Yeah. The original is definitely worth it. This one,
not so much.
Not so much. But either way, thanks for watching. Catch us next time. And we'll see you then.
Yeah.
Bye.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Bye.
Bye.